guys, TRex here, and back for another installment of the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. My hypothetical Nintendo Cinematic Universe that I have thought of inside my brain. Today, we have the sequel for Metroid. Samus Aran's adventure continues in this movie, Metroid Prime. I have a wild ride for you guys today. We are officially starting Phase 2 of this cinematic universe. Phase 1 ended with the first Super Smash Bros. Movie. That was the movie that I posted before this one. So this is movie number 7 that we are on. If you have not watched my previous 6 videos on this, I have a playlist that you can check out. And obviously, this movie will be based on the Metroid Prime game, as well as some elements of Prime 2 and also Metroid Prime Hunters. So let's get going. Let's start with the characters. We have Samus, Sylux, Spire, Trace, Kanden, Noxus, Weavel, Anthony Higgs, Old Bird, Metroid Prime, Dark, Samus, and Mother Brain. Everyone, regarding the characters, I'm just going to tell you guys this right now. So Sylux, Spire, Trace, Kanden, Noxus, and Weavel, those are the Metroid Prime Hunters. And in the games, they are all male characters. But one thing I am changing is Sylux, the main hunter in this movie. I am changing that character into a female character. So there's going to be a gender swap. Not because of like any agenda or anything like that. It's just, I feel like if I do that, that would work better for the story. That's all I'm doing. So don't get any weird ideas. So let's move on to the setting. We have Ceres, Zebes, Talon IV, and Phase. Those planets will all get explained as I explain the plot points. And now, let's get on to the plot points. So the movie starts off with a flashback on Zebes from the first Metroid movie. This flashback takes place on Norfair in the depths of Zebes. It shows you again how Samus was fighting Ridley in an effort to save the baby Metroid that he had previously captured. So while Samus is having her battle with Ridley, the shot goes back to Mother Brain, because Mother Brain was revealed in the very depths of Zebes, but no one knows this except for the space pirates. So as it goes back to Mother Brain, right now her form is just this giant brain in this glass pod, like her first form. Mother Brain summons the space pirate science team, because there's like different divisions of it. They arrive at her location in the frigate Orpheon. If I mispronounce anything, I'm sorry. They arrive in the frigate Orpheon and frigates Syriacus and Volparadom. Those are the space pirate frigates, which are like battleships, kinda. They arrive before Samus leaves Zebes to go to SR-388, because she initially talked to Old Bird and was discovering the X-parasites. That's what Samus was dealing with, but now here, we're seeing the Mother Brain speak with the space pirate science team. The science team approaches Mother Brain and she commands them to begin the next phase of their plan. The first phase being controlling Omega Metroids, which was their plan in the first Metroid movie. But now this phase of the plan is to go set up a lab on Talon IV and look for a valuable substance known as Phazon to inject into the Omega Metroids and to begin Project Titan. The science team tells her that it will be done and they leave back on their frigates to go to the planet Talon IV. And now we are taken to the present day. That's it for the flashback at the start of the movie. This is after Samus made her journey to Chushin and formed the Super Smash Bros. Now Samus has returned to her home universe. In the present day, Samus remembers Taboo's words spoken to her. I understand Ceres is going through a power crisis with a lack of Metroid corpses, but even a small amount of the subspace particle's power could light up Ceres for generations. This is what Taboo told Samus as he revealed his plan to the Super Smash Bros. In the previous movie. And now Samus remembers discussing with the Super Smash Bros. About agreeing to keep the subspace particles on Chushin so the team could come together to protect them from harm, but thinks about how the particles could be really useful to her right now. So it shows Ceres having a power crisis because of what Adam Malkovich did in the first Metroid movie. The planet and the space colony of Ceres has been using the energy of Metroid corpses to power their planet, but what Adam did was he killed them too quickly, so Ceres couldn't salvage its energy in time before it was exhausted, thus leading to the power shortage. And so Samus is about to meet with the Ceres High Council to discuss Ceres' future regarding power supply, because they're kind of screwed right now. Samus meets the council and they talk about what happened with Adam Malkovich. If you guys didn't know this, Adam Malkovich was the villain in the first Metroid movie, and how his actions of killing countless Metroids on SR-388 caused the energy within within their corpses to deteriorate faster than the Ceres science team could extract their energy, putting them in a power crisis. So like what I just explained. Samus is instructed to work with the Ceres space colony to search for a suitable power source throughout space and bring it back to Ceres in order to solve the power crisis. So even though Samus is still a bounty hunter and just kind of working for herself, ever since Adam died, she's been working with them more often, because Adam was the main reason why she left. So now Samus groups up with the Federation and they start the mission, and they want to see if they can find a suitable power source somewhere in space, besides the Metroid corpses, because they're kind of becoming endangered. So as they're cruising along in their ships, Samus and her gunship, they get ambushed by space pirates. A space battle begins with her gunship against a platoon of space pirates, and Samus works together with the platoons of the Galactic Federation Space Force to drive them away. Samus reminds the Federation of their mission and to find out anything the space pirates might know, because you never know what those guys are up to. There is a planet nearby where they are, and the pirates begin to retreat to the planet because their forces are getting overwhelmed by the Federation. The Space Federation chases them down and destroys several space pirate cruisers as they speed to the planet. Civilians in a town on this planet look up and see the only surviving space pirate cruiser crash land in their town. So at this point, they've destroyed all the space pirate cruisers except for one. People evacuate and the Federation lands surrounding the space pirate cruiser. The Federation troops get out of their ships and point their weapons at the cruiser as Samus joins them from her gunship. The space pirate stumbles out of his ship carrying his weapon and sees the Federation troops surrounding him. Samus begins interrogating him about why they were ambushed and what they were obviously protecting. The space pirate laughs and doesn't give them any useful information. Samus picks up the space pirate with ease and pins him against his cruiser, shoving her arm cannon in his face. Samus knows this pirate is lying and that the space pirates are up to something. She asks the space pirate who's leading them with Ridley dead, because 1, Samus killed Ridley in the first Metroid movie, and 2, Ridley's consciousness into Meta Ridley in the first Super Smash Bros. Movie was also killed. So there are no traces of Ridley anymore. The space pirate grows fearful at even the question of who could possibly be leading the space pirates, because the Federation doesn't know who Mother Brain is. He grows fearful and refuses to tell the Federation. He activates a timer on a bomb strapped to him. Samus and the Federation evacuate any other civilians in the area, and the space pirate blows up, inflicting damage to nearby buildings and narrowly avoiding civilian casualties. So this space pirate would literally rather die than tell them who he's working for. One of the Federation troops asks what they found out, and Samus says nothing, just more questions. It is obvious that they're planning something though, and that someone else, someone even scarier than Ridley, is controlling the space pirates. Samus and the Federation return to Ceres to update the operation. Based on their recent encounter with the space pirates, they learned that someone else is commanding the space pirates, even with Ridley dead, and that they have clearly been instructed to protect something, based on the space pirates' responses. That was all they found out. Samus takes this information to the High Council of Ceres, and they tell Samus that finding suitable power for Ceres takes a higher priority than merely just a theory about whatever this thing is that the space pirates are protecting, because they don't even know for sure that the space pirates are protecting anything. It seems obvious to Samus, but she doesn't really have any evidence. But Samus asks the Council what if this thing that they're protecting is the very thing that Ceres needs. They could at least find out what it is and decide if it's something that Ceres can use as a replacement power source. She convinces the Council, and the Council gives her 2 days to find out what the space pirates' plans are. So Samus goes to Zebes to visit Old Bird to see if he can help her find out any more information about where she should go. She lands in the Chozo village and reunites with him. Samus asks Old Bird about the Chozo statue beneath Zebes that she found in the first Metroid movie, and Old Bird tells her that throughout the history of the Chozo, they have planted statues in the depths of certain planets to mark the presence of the Chozo. Upon discovering the statue of Zebes, the Chozo learned that Zebes was a planet that the Chozo itself had discovered generations ago until they were seemingly forced out by an unknown entity. So therefore, Zebes was forgotten in Chozo records until they returned. Samus asks what other planets the Chozo marked with statues, and shows him a map of the path the Federation was heading towards until they were ambushed by the space pirates. So the Federation had a route that they were going until they were ambushed by them. Old Bird analyzes the map and points to a particular planet far in the distance. Old Bird tells Samus that that planet right there is Talon IV, where they had a dominant rule over the planet before being forced to evacuate due to a harmful atmospheric great poison called Phazon. Samus asks what that is, and Old Bird tells her that it's a radioactive substance that arrived on a Leviathan. A Leviathan in this place is kind of like a living, machinic, giant freighter ship that was holding Phazon. So the Leviathan arrived to the planet Talon IV while the Chozo were on it, and it corrupted its atmosphere, forcing the Chozo to evacuate as they were highly highly vulnerable to it. And then later, the substance became a valuable item on the black market. The black market kind of started when the Phazon in the atmosphere kind of went away, and they started building civilizations on Talon IV again, but by then the Chozo were already done. And Old Bird says that almost no one can survive in the presence of Phazon in its raw form. Then Samus asks about the black market and who was involved, but Old Bird doesn't know. They were already gone before the black market started. So Samus says that she's going there, but Old Bird tells her that it's too dangerous, especially with the black market running about on Talon IV. Samus promises she'll be careful, and that Ceres is looking for an alternative power source besides Metroids, because that's still the power source that Samus uses, is the energy of Metroid corpses, and will look into Phazon. Then Old Bird tells Samus to at least take a team with her. Samus agrees and returns to the Ceres space colony to speak with the new commanding officer, Anthony Higgs, a former member of the 07th platoon who always called Samus Princess, along with Adam Malkovich, back when they were on the platoon together. So both Anthony and Samus were platoon members of the 07th back when Adam was commanding officer. So Samus finds the baby Metroid that she was taking care of in one of the medical wings on the space colony and reunites with it, with the baby Metroid joining her once again. So after introductions, Samus asked Anthony to give her a team to take with her to Talon IV, and to give her 2 days to find whatever it is the space pirates are hiding. She tells Anthony that she found out about Phazon, and that if its energy could be harnessed, it could be used as a potential energy source. Anthony sighs and asks Samus if she has any leads on it, and can tell him anything other than theories, but Samus has nothing. Anthony tells her he can't send a platoon with her if she doesn't have any evidence of this Phazon. Samus asks to bring the 07th platoon back together, but Anthony tells her that they are the last two remaining surviving members, and that everyone else in the platoon died. Samus reminisces over that, but Anthony tells her that if she can find any evidence for her claims, he can send the Emmys down with her. Casual Emmy reveal. Samus quickly refuses, and is against the idea of having the Emmys as part of the Galactic Federation military space force. Anthony tells her that the Emmys have never failed a mission, and are the most efficient soldiers the Federation has ever had. What these Emmys are is they're not really revealed in this movie, but they're these advanced machinic soldiers that are engineered specifically for combat. But Samus does not like them at all, and it's about to get explained why. Samus tells Anthony that the Emmys show a complete disregard for compassion and innocent lives, and would sacrifice them without hesitation if it meant completing a mission. That's what the Emmys are like. And then Anthony tells her that the Emmys get their hands dirty so the Federation doesn't have to, and that they're efficient. Samus immediately dismisses and refuses to take the Emmys with her. Anthony says that's fine, but that there's nothing else he can do for her, until she finds concrete evidence. Samus leaves and tells Anthony she'll go to Talon IV by herself. Anthony tells her to not be ridiculous, princess. Samus takes the baby Metroid with her to go to Talon IV. Samus follows the map that Old Bird showed her to Talon IV, and begins to enter its atmosphere. However, the frigate Orpheon waits there and ambushes her gunship. The gunship loses operations, and Samus and the baby Metroid investigate the damage. The space pirates on the Orpheon radio the space pirates on the surface of Talon IV that the bounty hunter has arrived. The space pirate on the ground orders them to get rid of her. Samus wanders around her ship looking for space pirates, and they show up, starting a battle between her and the pirates. Samus goes through a sequence of shooting all the numerous pirates she encounters with her arm cannon, and she infiltrates the frigate Orpheon, which has latched onto her gunship. The baby Metroid has also latched itself onto a few space pirate faces and ate their faces. They go inside, killing more of the space pirates when they enter the main hangar. Samus encounters the Parasite Queen, an Omega Metroid held in a massive glass pod. Samus and the baby Metroid battle the Parasite Queen, and Samus scans it for weak spots. Samus finds them and is able to dodge most of the Parasite Queen's attacks and energy blasts. Samus and the baby Metroid overpower the Parasite Queen, and it causes the core of the ship to become unstable. Samus and the baby Metroid evacuate the ship and make quick repairs to Samus's gunship, unattaching it from the frigate Orpheon and flying away towards Talon IV as the frigate Orpheon explodes, killing any surviving space pirate left on that ship. Samus lands her gunship on Talon IV near the Chozo ruins, which was the old Chozo civilization that lived there. The space pirate on the ground tries to radio the Orpheon, but gets no response. He calls Mother Brain, who emerges on his communication device. The pirate reports that the Orpheon is not giving him a response, and that the Parasite Queen, as well as the crew on board, are most likely dead. The pirate sees Samus Samus land and attempts to apprehend her. Mother Brain tells the pirate she'll just kill him instantly, and that he needs to just watch her movements for now. This is kind of the main space pirate of this movie. Mother Brain asks the pirate about Project Titan. The pirate reports that it's going smoothly, and Omega Metroids are reacting well to the Phazon that they're given. Mother Brain tells him to continue experiments and to eventually initiate Project Helix. So now Samus and the baby Metroid are on Talon IV, and they discover the atmosphere on Talon IV is no longer harmful, so they realize they're good there. So they enter a lively but shady town next to the Chozo ruins. She wanders through, and it's riddled with poverty, with the poor citizens not lucky enough to have partaken in illegal substance black market trading. Pretty much that's the only reason why anyone here that's rich would be rich, is because of illegal black market trading. So yeah, shady town. And now Samus enters a bar/nightclub and wanders through it looking for intel. Samus finds a very wealthy looking man at the bar and approaches him, asking him about Phazon. The man takes one look at her power suit, concluding that this is a Federation power suit. Then a group of mercenaries in mechanized suits sitting in a booth of the bar sees Samus talking to the man. Samus tells the man she doesn't work for the Federation anymore, which is kind of a half-truth, but that this is just a suit she wears for personal reasons, because of her mother. The man tells her that these people don't know that and don't take the Federation kindly around these parts, and then Samus looks around and notices people staring at her. Samus says fine and removes her helmet, revealing her face. The man takes a good look at her and tells her that she should have started with that. Samus repeats her question about Phazon, and the man tells her that she's in the wrong place to be asking that. And then Samus tells him that she won't snitch. The man smiles and takes her over to the mercenaries in mechanized suits, revealing them as his hunters. The man introduces her to Sylux, Spire, Trace, Kanden, Noxus, and Weavel. And all of these people are about to get revealed, like what their characteristics are, their abilities, all that stuff. Starting with Sylux as the leader. Remember, Sylux is a woman in this movie, and she specializes in stealth, tracking, and marksmanship, and also battle strategy. Spire is resistant to any kind of heat and can even walk in lava. Trace's blades show no mercy towards anyone and is described to have his hands having been filthy for years. Kanden is a laboratory experiment to become the ultimate hunter, but the experiment went wrong and just became the brute of the team. And then Noxus likes to follow the rules to an extreme degree, but that he's also the brains of the group and kind of the engineer. And then lastly, Weavel, who was disfigured by the space pirates and became a cyborg, able to access his vast arsenal of weaponry, and that his greatest weapon is the battle hammer. The man tells Samus that these hunters have kept his Phazon market in check throughout Talon IV, but have been instructed to find the source of Phazon, because they do this trading of Phazon, but they actually don't know where it originates. So he's telling these hunters to find where the Phazon comes from. And they also don't know who sells them the Phazon, only that the seller supplies a lot of it from an unknown location. And so now Sylux speaks up and asks the man why they should work with this Federation filth. Samus becomes petty and tells her that she's here on her own and wants to find the Phazon to stop the space pirates. Sylux gets up and gets in Samus's face, asking Samus what she knows about Phazon. Samus hesitates and Sylux tells this man she won't be working with this idiot, even though Samus is actually really smart. The man reminds Sylux that she works for him, and if Samus can help them find the Phazon, they will be working with her. The man asks the other mercenaries if they have a problem with that, and the others say that they don't. But Samus isn't finished, and asks Sylux what her beef is with her. Sylux removes her helmet, revealing her face, and tells her that she doesn't care if Samus is Federation or not. That suit belongs to the ones who wrongfully accused her family of treason by stealing Federation weapons to defend themselves from the space pirates when the Federation refused to help them when she was a child. Samus says that's news to her, but that Samus gives her no sympathy, telling Sylux that when Samus's parents were killed by the space pirates, she didn't throw a fit to the Federation for not helping them, but she directed her anger at the space pirates, the ones actually responsible. Samus asks if she's going to keep bitching to the Federation like a child, or taking down the ones who actually deserve their judgment, the space pirates. Sylux tries to swing on Samus, but the other hunters intervene, with the baby Metroid hissing at Sylux. The hunters stop her with Samus not even flinching. Sylux collects herself and tells Samus she's lucky she hates the space pirates more than her. And now, their mission begins. Samus leads the hunters out of the city, and they approach the Chozo ruins on Talon IV. Samus gets a holographic computer out, letting the Federation know she found a team, and registers the hunters with her as part of her team. So she registers all the hunters that are with her, and you're about to find out why. Sylux tries to stop her, asking what Samus is doing. Samus explains what she just did. Sylux tries to object, but Samus assures them that registering the hunters as part of the mission is how they get paid, so they're welcome. And so with Samus registering the hunters, if they complete the mission, the hunters get some of the credit as well. So Samus actually did the hunters a favor. The hunters journey for a bit, and they end up in an open area surrounded by strange lampposts pointing towards the center of the area. Samus picks up a heat signature on her radar, and the hunters get in battle position. A giant plant creature called Flagra emerges. Sylux tells Samus she better be good, and the hunters all display their abilities, while Flagra tries to attack them. The hunters are professionals and excel, impressing Samus. Samus joins in the fight, and she displays all her abilities as well. We're talking about Sylux's physical skills, Trace's swords, Kanden's brute strength, Noxus's intel and all that stuff, and Weavel's weaponry such as his battle hammer. And then eventually, Spire is the one who finishes off Flagra with his lava attack. And so the main science team space pirate, and in the future if I say main space pirate, that's the specific space pirate that I'm talking about. The main space pirate sees them finish off Flagra, and it frantically lets Mother Brain know. Mother Brain tells the space pirate to finish Project Titan here, then to withdraw to the planet that supplies Phazon to begin Project Helix. The space pirate tries to tell Mother Brain that they still don't know if the experiments will be safe yet for the space pirates, but Mother Brain tells the pirate to initialize the plan anyway, and that she's tired of letting this bounty hunter delay their plans. So basically, Mother Brain doesn't care if a few space pirates die in order for this experiment to work. They end the call, and the space pirate hurries over to the Magmore caverns undetected by the hunters. Samus, the baby Metroid, and the hunters collect themselves after defeating Flagra, and they want to know who was behind summoning it to attack them. Kanden suggests that it was just wildlife that was protecting its territory, as they are on the outskirts of the town. However, Noxus questions why there would be lampposts surrounding the creature. Samus approaches the base of where Flagra once stood as Weavel finds footprints. Noxus scans the footprints, confirming that the footprints belong to a space pirate. Samus points her arm cannon to the base that Flagra once stood and blows it up with a missile, opening a cavern beneath the ground they stand on. Sylux asks why Samus would do that until she sees the cavern inside. It's revealed that the space pirates have a laboratory base in the depths of the Magmore caverns and are freaking out as they saw on the cameras that Samus had just blown a hole into their base. The pirates prepare their battle stations and defense mechanisms, and the hunters raid the base. And then the space pirate science team prepares a shuttle to take them away from the planet. Samus, the hunters, and baby Metroid kill any space pirate they can find as they plow through the base. The science team gathers their capsules of Phazon and puts them on the shuttle as fast as they can. The main space pirate picks up a capsule containing a small Metroid. The Metroid is a dark shade with red eyes and pincers and appears to be very young. The capsule is labeled Prime. The main space pirate puts the capsule in the shuttle as the hunters make it to the main area. Trace takes his blades and speed blitzes all the science team members in there, killing them except for the main space pirate. The hunters interrogate the main space pirate, making him explain what they're doing on Talon IV. There are numerous lethal weapons pointing at him, including Trace's blade at his throat. Noxus scans the capsules of Phazon and concludes that there's Phazon with the space pirates. Samus asks the pirate if they're the ones supplying the Talon IV black market with Phazon, and the main space pirate confirms it, laughing. Sylux appears horrified, thinking about how the hunters helped control the market set up by the number one thing she hates. So they didn't know the space pirates were supplying the black market. Samus asks where they got the Phazon and if it was what the space pirates were protecting. The main space pirate freezes up and becomes terrified. Trace digs the blade into the pirate's throat slightly, making it start to bleed. The pirate suddenly presses a panic button concealed in his sleeve. The pirate refuses to answer, saying she'll kill him. Sylux gets in his face, asking the pirate what he thinks they'll do if he doesn't cooperate. Sylux is very intimidating. Samus thinks about she'll kill him and asks the pirate who they've been working for since Ridley's death. The pirate laughs and says that Ridley was never in charge of them, and that he was only a commander. Sylux pins him to the ground and continues threatening the terrified main space pirate. Kanden can hear a slight rumble and directs his attention towards that. Samus notices it too. Then all of a sudden, there's a blast in the side of the cavern, and a massive rocky figure plows through the structure. Samus dives, gets Sylux out of the way before she can get trampled, and the rocky figure crashes through the ground, taking Samus and the hunters down with it, saving the main space pirate and the shuttle with Phazon on it. So as the main space pirate boards the shuttle with the Phazon and this Prime capsule in it. He tells the hunters to enjoy Project Titan and gets the shuttle in the air to leave through the cavern. The hunters, the baby Metroid, and the rocky figure crash to the ground below them in an open area, and the rocky figure is revealed to be Thardus, also known as Project Titan. The hunters fight Thardus as Noxus and Samus scan it, looking for weak points. Samus notices traces of Phazon within the monster, and she lets everyone know. Weavel uses his cybernetic power to deal the most damage to Thardus, especially with his battle hammer, as Trace goes for the joints between the rocks. Spire uses lava attacks, Kanden delivers physical blows to the monster, and Sylux uses her various weaponry to hang in there. They fight Thardus for a while, and eventually the hunters overpower it, destroying it, by destroying all the joints with the Phazon in it. As it blows apart, the hunters are frustrated that they let the space pirate get away in the shuttle, and that they have no way of tracking it. But Noxus says that there is a way to track it. As Noxus approaches the loose Phazon on the ground from Thardus' body, Sylux approaches Samus and sheepishly thanks Samus for risking her life to save hers. She's still reluctant to trust Samus, but she's like, Samus did just save my life, but I still don't really like you. But that Sylux won't let herself be caught off guard like that again. So there's kind of a rivalry going on right now. Noxus scans the Phazon and tells the hunters that there is a way to trace the Phazon and various substances back to the original source. He traces the Phazon back to the planet Phase, and Noxus' computer device creates a visual trail tracing the original location out of the cavern and off the planet. And now the planet Phase is finally shown. It's a bright blue planet all over, and the space pirate shuttle rushes to it, landing on the space pirate base on Phase. The base is shown collecting large amounts of Phazon and concentrating it into capsules. The main space pirate arrives and tells the science team that they have to begin Project Helix immediately. The hunters on Samus's gunship follow the Phazon's trail while having a moment to bond, kind of team building, with the hunters learning more about Samus's backstory, including when her parents were killed by space pirates. The hunters get to know the baby Metroid, and they realize that if this baby Metroid loves Samus so much, Samus must not be so bad. And even Sylux has started taking a liking to Samus, but again, still not trusting her 100%. And so they arrive at Phase's location, and they gaze at the bright blue planet. Then Samus tells the hunters that this has to be what the space pirates were protecting, as this planet ends up in the direct path the Federation took initially, at the beginning of the movie. The hunters find a spot to land on Phase, but Samus's gunship gets hit by an unknown blast, making the ship fall out of its flight pattern and spinning out of control. Samus starts to fall out of the ship. Sylux catches her, but can't keep a tight grip as the ship spins at a high speed. The grip loosens and Samus falls out, landing directly into a lake of Phazon. It's revealed that the space pirates from their base were the ones who blasted the hunters out of the sky. The gunship passes over the lake and crashes into the ground next to the lake. The hunters get out and frantically look for Samus. They rush to the coast of the lake, looking for where Samus might have gone. Samus's body in her power suit starts to sink to the bottom of the Phazon lake. She remembers old Bird telling her that Phazon was considered to be the great poison, and that almost no one could survive in the presence of raw Phazon. The baby Metroid cries out for Samus, and Noxus stands for heat signatures in the lake. He finds Samus, but tells them that Phazon absorbs life forms quickly, and soon there won't be a heat signature for Samus if she gets absorbed by the Phazon. Samus's body is seen again as Phazon begins bonding with Samus's suit. Weavel gets out one of his cybernetic tools, revealing a claw, and he reaches into the Phazon lake with the claw. The claw extends into the depths of the Phazon lake, and Weavel is in pain from having some of his body directly touching the Phazons. Even though it's cybernetic parts, he can still feel pain. The claw eventually reaches Samus and latches onto her, with Noxus giving the cue that he got her. The claw pulls Samus out, revealing that the claw was about to be incinerated by the lake. Samus is covered in Phazon, but the hunters are amazed that Samus came out almost completely unscathed. Noxus scans Samus and finds out that X-parasites in Samus's body saved her and her suit from being absorbed by the Phazon. Beneath the lake, a figure has started forming out of Phazon from the lake. This is like a cavern beneath the lake, and the figure starts latching together pieces of Phazon to form a human-shaped body. Around the surface of the body, a power suit outline forms around it, with a Y-shaped lens around where the figure's eyes would be. Samus wakes up gasping for air as she's surrounded by the hunters and the baby Metroid. She reunites with the hunters and baby Metroid, and they agree to explore the planet in order to find the space pirates. And then Noxus stays behind to do some maintenance repairs to Samus's gunship. The space pirates forcefully volunteer one of the space pirates to be an experiment for Project Helix. The main space pirate announces Project Helix, explaining explaining that it's an experiment to inject Phazon into the space pirates themselves. The pirate being volunteered protests, but the other pirates inject him with a syringe containing the Phazon. The pirate cries out in pain as the other pirates toss him into a containment cell in the facility. The space pirates watch as the Phazon-injected pirate begins mutating into a Phazon monster. The Phazon monster bangs on the glass, roaring that they forced him to be a subject against his will. The main space pirate tells him a pirate not willing to die for the cause doesn't deserve to live, and the monster gets an overload of Phazon injected into him, melting him into a blob of space pirate flesh. The main space pirate announces that Project Helix is a success, and knows how much to inject into the space pirates to become these effective Phazon monsters. Samus and the hunters make it to the space pirate facility and begin infiltrating it. Samus and Sylux go as a team, and Weavel, Spire, Kanden, and Trace go as another team. Beneath the lake, the figure out of Phazon finishes forming, and the outline of a power suit is formed. The figure detaches from the Phazon webbing beneath the lake and lands on the surface of the cavern, revealing Dark Samus. Dark Samus looks outside the cave and sees its exit, and the Noxus is seen working on the gunship some more. Samus and Sylux enter an empty room and find papers sitting on a table. Sylux picks it up, and the papers reveal the plans for Project Helix. Sylux tells Samus to come look. They read about what Project Helix is, learning of the plans to inject Phazon into the space pirates, and by doing this, have a dominant empire over the entire Federation system with total control over Phazon production. Samus concludes that the space pirates could do everything with Phazon, create monstrous soldiers, sell Phazon, create weapons with them, and do all that to ultimately wipe out the entire Federation system. Samus says that they need to get the Phazon to the Federation before that happens. Sylux hesitates and Samus notices. They talk about how the Federation impacted their lives, with Samus telling her that Adam Malkovich, a trusted Federation commanding officer, betrayed her and the entire system by slaughtering innocent Metroids and inadvertently causing Ceres' low power supply. And Samus tells Sylux that even though she was heartbroken by his betrayal, that shouldn't mean that she shouldn't help those in need, such as Sylux when she was in need of a hero when she was younger. Sylux agrees, the two of them hug it out, vowing to stop the space pirates from getting the Phazon. They continue reading the papers and they come across the section of the Leviathan. The papers read that the space pirates found a Leviathan in a cavern buried in the depths of Phase, revealing that the main space pirate was the one who found it in a sequence shot. Samus remembers Old Bird telling her about it and explains that the Leviathans will collide with different planets to corrupt their atmospheres with Phazon, like what happened with Talon IV, thus the black market happening. Sylux concludes that the space pirates may use it to create more sources of Phazon to keep an unlimited supply chain. And so Samus and Sylux rush out of the room to find the Leviathan. Multiple different space pirates are seen injecting Phazon into their arms, turning them into Phazon monsters. Spire, Kanden, Trace, and Weavel rush into the facility, with Trace killing other space pirates in their path. They get to the mutated space pirates and they wonder what's going on. Weavel sees the empty canisters of Phazon and tells the hunters not to tell him they injected Phazon into themselves. Trace says that there's no other alternative and wishes that Noxus were here to try to make sense of this madness. The four hunters fight the mutated space pirates, or the Phazon monsters. And there's a lot of them. Noxus is done with repairs of the gunship, and over comms he tells the hunters that he's done with the repairs for Samus's gunship. He hears a weirdly distorted version of Samus's voice 20 feet behind him, asking where Samus Aran is. Noxus turns around and sees Dark Samus standing there. Noxus takes a good look at it and asks it if she's some darker version of her, which actually it is. And Dark Samus tells him it's not going to ask him again. Noxus starts chuckling and takes off his helmet. He tells it that he doesn't know who she thinks she is talking to, and quickly pulls out his blaster. Dark Samus, at a great speed, shoots a Phazon blast directly at Noxus with its arm cannon, and it'll be revealed what kind of shot this is later. Noxus falls back screaming in pain as he observes his torso having been incinerated by Dark Samus's blast. Dark Samus walks up to him, pointing its blaster at Noxus again. Dark Samus removes its helmet, revealing a light blue alien-shaped head with the same color of Phazon, which is this light blue, which is the same color as Phazon. Dark Samus tells Noxus it was formed from Samus's DNA when she fell into the Phazon lake, and must find her to complete its transformation. Dark Samus explains that Samus's abilities far outweigh anything Noxus can do, and tells him that it absorbed those abilities. Noxus tells Dark Samus not to underestimate him, and quickly gets up despite the pain in his torso. He shoots 2 blasts of energy from his blaster, in which Dark Samus effortlessly dodges both. Dark Samus then activates an energy blade from its arm, and in the blink of an eye, slashes the blade speed towards the upper area around Noxus's body. Noxus freezes and looks blankly ahead. Darth Samus then pulls out Noxus' communication device from his utility belt, revealing conversation within the device as Noxus stands there idly, not doing anything. Darth Samus then takes the device and walks a distance from Noxus, listening to Samus tell the hunters that space pirates are injecting themselves with Phazon and that their plan is to control a Leviathan beneath Phaz's surface. And Darth Samus also hears that they need to get the Phazon to the Federation. As Darth Samus keeps walking, Noxus' head falls off of his body, revealing that Darth Samus had decapitated him. It's blurred out behind Darth Samus though, so it's not really like showing anything too bad. So Darth Samus has officially killed Noxus, the brains of the team. The hunters continue battling the mutated space pirates and appear to be struggling against them, because these are mutated Phazon monsters. Kanden tries calling Noxus on comms, but gets no response. They manage to clear out the space pirates in that area and rush to Noxus' position to find out what happened. Darth Samus shows up to the front gate of the Phase facility with multiple space pirates pointing their weapons at it. Darth Samus reveals the pirates' plan to them because it found out from Samus telling the hunters, telling them that it knows about their plans to use the Leviathan to spread Phazon to different planets. Darth Samus explains its purpose is to spread the Phazon as far as possible to keep its organic matter Phazon from going extinct, making Darth Samus and the space pirates' interests align. And then Darth Samus declares it will help the space pirates spread the Phazon. The hunters make it back to Samus's gunship because they left the facility to find Noxus, and they find Noxus' body lying in the ground next to the ship, and they mourn Noxus' death. Weavel examines Noxus' torso that was incinerated and concludes that this burn mark came from a large energy blast from an arm cannon. They asked about Samus, but they want to confirm it before they draw any conclusions, since they heard Samus talk to them over comms about what the space pirates' plans are. They tell Samus and Sylux over comms that Noxus has been killed, and Sylux is horrified. Darth Samus leads a group of space pirates down a hallway heading to the Leviathan when Samus, the baby Metroid, and Sylux stumble across them, meeting for the first time. Darth Samus tells the space pirates to keep going and that it'll catch up to them. Samus and Sylux have a confrontation with Darth Samus, learning of Darth Samus's ambitions and that this is the one who killed Noxus. It's an intense fight between them, and Darth Samus eventually overpowers them. Because of Darth Samus possessing all of Samus's physical traits, an equal power suit, as well as raw Phazon power, which is more powerful than the energy Samus has. As Samus lies on the ground struggling to get up, Darth Samus kneels over her and places its hand on her, absorbing some of Samus's DNA. Samus tries to resist with the baby Metroid trying to assist Samus, but Darth Samus receives enough of Samus's data to transform Darth Samus's armor. Darth Samus thanks Samus for completing its transformation. Sylux struggles to get up, but Darth Samus shoots a missile at her, sending Sylux flying into the wall as she puts on her helmet to complete her armor to tank some of the blast. Darth Samus, now wearing a carbon copy of Samus's armor. Darth Samus, wearing Samus's armor, leaves them there and goes in the directions that the pirates are heading. Samus gets up and helps Sylux get up. Outside a window in the distance, she can see Kanden, Spire, Trace, and Weavel returning to the space pirate base. The four hunters, Kanden, Spire, Trace, and Weavel, they enter a room where they collect themselves, after having just processed Noxus' death. There are one-way windows in which the other side can see through, in that specific room that they entered. Mutated space pirates stand outside the room that they're in and prepare to ambush them, seeing the hunters through the one-way glass. Darth Samus, disguised as Samus, approaches from behind the pirates and asks them what's going on. The space pirates tell it that they found intruders in this room. Darth Samus sees the hunters, seeing that it has similar armor to Noxus and Sylux. Darth Samus enters the room disguised as Samus. The hunters look back and see who they think is Samus walking into the room, with all of them taking off their helmets. They reunite with Samus. A camera is revealed by the window, pointing at everyone in the room. They tell Samus what they know and how they're going to avenge Noxus' death when Darth Samus pulls out its arm cannon and hits Trace with a shrapnel beam, killing him instantly. That was the blast that it used on Noxus earlier. The hunters freak out and are horrified. The hunters are filled with rage and charge at Samus when multitudes of laser blasts crash through the one-way windows, filling the room with blasts. Spire gets hit with one of the blasts and lies down in pain. Kanden screams over comms to Sylux that Samus has just ambushed them with space pirates. Sylux freezes and tells him that's impossible and that Samus is with her. Weavel covers Spire, protecting him from the blast when Weavel looks up, seeing Darth Samus' arm cannon pointing at him mere inches from his unprotected face. Darth Samus fires, not showing the missile killing Weavel. The camera footage is catching everything. Spire gets up and hits several mutated space pirates with his fire attacks, killing several of them. As he is injured, he cannot react to Darth Samus approaching him. Darth Samus gets out an energy sword and stabs Spire, making Kanden the last remaining surviving hunter of the group. Kanden, going berserk, rushes in and sends Darth Samus flying into a wall. Kanden looks around at his fallen comrades and uses his brute strength to go ham on Darth Samus as he rages that they trusted her. Because remember, Darth Samus has been wearing Samus's armor, so they think this is Samus. Darth Samus laughs as Kanden repeatedly hits its helmet. As Kanden hits its helmet, the power suit starts glitching and begins reverting the suit back to its original form. So back to Darth Samus's suit. Kanden stops and collapses off of Darth Samus's body, seeing Darth Samus's true suit form. The camera shows the mutated space pirates going into the room and surrounding Kanden and Darth Samus. Darth Samus takes off its helmet, revealing to Kanden that this is not Samus. Kanden stares into the eyes of this Samus imposter, seeing its bright blue alien-like face as the space pirates finish off Kanden. Darth Samus puts its helmet back on and turns its armor back into Samus's armor and walks over to where the camera is and stops the recording. It uploads the footage to the planetary network, finding the Federation system. Darth Samus sends the camera footage to the Federation with Samus's credentials, because remember, it absorbed Samus's DNA, so it knows everything that Samus knows. As Darth Samus and the space pirates clear out of the room, a space pirate asks what it did, and Darth Samus says it sent a warning. And after it sent the footage to the Federation, Darth Samus returned back to its true form. At the Ceres space colony, a researcher at his computer receives a video recording from Phase along with a trace to where the video came from. The researcher brings over Anthony Higgs and they watch the video of Samus and the space pirates ambushing the hunters. Anthony realizes that these soldiers were registered as part of the Federation for this mission and sees Samus killing them along with the space pirates. Samus, the baby Metroid, and Sylux are the last remaining members of this crew, and they're on their way while chasing the space pirates and Darth Samus when they come across the aftermath of the room along with the hunter's remains. Sylux weeps over her fallen comrades and Samus feels awful. They both take off their helmets and Samus apologizes for dragging them into this mess and letting this happen to them. Sylux remembers as a child how the Federation failed to help her family in her time of need, and she tells Samus it's not her fault and that this is on all of them. Sylux explains that she unwittingly allowed the space pirates to control a dangerous market on Talon IV and how she even helped protect it. So yeah, this is on all of them. Samus leans in next to her and tells her they're going to destroy all traces of this operation, letting her know that Noxus, Trace, Spire, Weavel, and Kanden's deaths won't be in vain. As they leave the room, Samus sees the computer in the corner, seeing that a message has been sent to the Federation. The main space pirate takes Darth Samus and the space pirates to the huge cavern where the idol Leviathan lies. The main space pirate tells Darth Samus they'll send this thing to the biggest planet they can find and grow an abundance of Phazon. Darth Samus notices Samus, the baby Metroid, and Sylux rapidly approaching the cavern and lets the space pirates know. The main space pirate asks if one of them has the Metroid codename Prime. One of the pirates hands him the capsule containing the Dark Metroid in the capsule, and the main space pirate tells everyone to get the Leviathan operational. Darth Samus steps up and attempts to hold off Samus and Sylux, but the main space pirate tells it to join the others, saying that he'll handle this. Darth Samus goes towards the Leviathan, and the main space pirate takes Metroid Prime out of the capsule. Samus and Sylux crash through the door leading to the cavern, and they see what the main space pirate is about to do. Samus sees the tiny Metroid, telling Sylux that is an Omega Metroid. The tiny Metroid cries, and the main space pirate injects it with a large amount of Phazon. Samus freaks out and fires an energy blast at the main space pirate, knocking him down to the ground. Metroid Prime grows to an enormous size, roaring as it's just been mutated by Phazon. The main space pirate marvels at Metroid Prime's magnificence, crawling in front of it. Metroid Prime stares down at the main space pirate with murderous intent, and roaring, it thrusts one of its pincers into the ground, crushing the main space pirate. So yeah, the main space pirate's dead. Metroid Prime sees Samus, the baby Metroid, and Sylux, and it charges at them. They fight for a while, and Metroid Prime gives them a really hard time. Space pirates work on powering the Leviathan with Phazon, and Darth Samus boards it while looking back at Metroid Prime, Samus, Sylux, and the baby Metroid. Samus scans Metroid Prime's weak spots, and she and Sylux work together to attack the weak points, damaging Metroid Prime a good amount. Once Metroid Prime is weak enough, Samus finds out she has an energy blade as well. Samus remembers Dark Samus stealing some of Samus's DNA and wonders if Dark Samus accidentally gave her abilities as well, which it had to. Sylux uses gadgets to pin Metroid Prime down, and Samus leaps to its neck, piercing her energy blade through the Metroid Prime and the blade coming out of its mouth. Metroid Prime shrieks in pain and dies. Dark Samus sees what happened to Metroid Prime from inside the cockpit of the Leviathan as it gets powered up. There is Phazon energy from all around the inside of the Leviathan that lights up as the Leviathan powers on. Samus, Sylux, and the baby Metroid all rush down to the Leviathan, and they kill every space pirate that are working on it, leaving themselves against Dark Samus and the Leviathan. They're devastated as the Leviathan has already launched, and they realize they don't have enough power in their thrusters to catch up to it. Samus tells Sylux she's going to get to a high enough ground and see if she can latch onto the bottom of her ship with her energy whip. Sylux doesn't respond, but she fires restraints at Samus, pinning her against a large rock. The baby Metroid charges at Sylux, but Sylux raises a hand at the baby Metroid, giving it a sign that she doesn't mean harm. Sylux slowly pets the baby Metroid, and Samus demands to know what Sylux is doing. Sylux tells Samus that she's done enough, and tells her not to interfere. Samus, in shock, asks Sylux about how Sylux hates the space pirates more than anything, but now she's doing this. Sylux tells Samus that's why she's doing this. She says that Samus needs to live to stop the space pirates, and that Samus is the only one who can do that. Sylux leaves Samus there and jumps on several platforms, leading to the ascending Leviathan as Samus screams for her to stop. Sylux makes it to the highest point of the cavern and puts everything she has into her thrusters. Sylux fires a grappling hook to a spot in the Leviathan, and she successfully boards it. Samus uses all of her strength to break the tight restraints on her, but she can only watch from the surface of the planet as the Leviathan takes off in the air. But Samus manages to take a container of Phazon with her that the space pirates left behind. Sylux stumbles into the cockpit area, and Dark Samus notices her approaching. Sylux sees the Phazon all around the ship, and then she has a confrontation with Dark Samus, filled with rage, and swears vengeance for her comrades, shooting several blasts of energy at the Phazon around the ship, making it unstable. Dark Samus freaks out and fires a shrapnel beam at Sylux. Sylux mostly dodges it, but still gets nicked by one of her blasts, making her collapse in pain. This is raw Phazon energy. Dark Samus continues panicking and tries to retain control of the Leviathan. Sylux, out of sheer will, gets up and she fights Dark Samus. Sylux can't do much damage to Dark Samus, but she finds windows to fire blasts at vital points of the Leviathan. The Leviathan loses control and begins tipping forward. As it tips forward, Dark Samus falls through the windshield of the Leviathan and barely holds onto it, while Sylux manages to hang on to the inside of the cockpit. But then Dark Samus uses its arm cannon while dangling to hit Sylux in her abdomen with a shrapnel beam. As Dark Samus struggles to stay on, Sylux now barely manages to stay conscious. Sylux shoots a missile at Dark Samus's hand, and it makes Dark Samus fall a great distance back to the surface of the planet. Sylux sighs in relief and laughs, proud of herself for avenging her fellow hunters, while her abdomen had just taken a direct hit from Dark Samus's shrapnel beam. Samus looks up from the planet, having made it back to her gunship, and directs the baby Metroid inside for safety. She sees that the Leviathan is flying towards the surface of the planet with smoke coming from it. Sylux, on the brink of death, keeps shooting the Phazon around the ship from her position. She starts a monologue to little girls around the star system, telling them that she hopes they know that in their time of need, a hero will be there for them. She hopes that someday they'll know that someone made a difference in their lives and helps them live the best lives that they can possibly have. And to Samus, she hopes that Samus can carry on her dream of stopping the space pirates from causing terror around the star system, and to prevent stories like hers and Samus's from happening again. As the Leviathan crashes into Phase's surface, it blows up and releases a great wave of Phazon across the entire planet. Samus and the baby Metroid are inside Samus's repaired gunship, safe from the Phazon blast, as they watch the Leviathan's destruction. She mourns Sylux's death and asking herself why she could have ever thought Sylux would betray her. Samus sets the container of Phazon in the passenger seat of her gunship, and she leaves the planet with the baby Metroid. As she exits Phase's atmosphere, she's puzzled to see Federation cruisers approaching the planet. She never gave them a signal or trace that she was even here, and radios Anthony Higgs' cruiser leading the Federation's ships. She asks Anthony what he's doing here, and that she was returning to Ceres with a sample of a potential power source. Anthony tells Samus that she is under Federation arrest for murdering registered Federation troops while on this mission, and for conspiring with the space pirates. Samus, in shock, tells Anthony that she did no such thing when she remembers registering the hunters for the mission with the Federation, and how the hunters were killed by Dark Samus and the space pirates, while Dark Samus took on Samus's form. Samus also remembers the computer saying that there was a message sent to the Federation, concluding that that's what it must have been. Samus pleads with Anthony and tries to tell him that she was framed, and that she would never do something like that. Anthony is having none of it, and demands to know why they received a video transmission of Samus slaughtering her comrades with the space pirates, and how it was done so with her credentials. Samus is devastated and realizes she can't convince the Federation of her innocence with that much evidence against her, even though she's innocent. Samus tries one more time to plead with Anthony, and tries to make him remember how long they've been working with each other in the 07th platoon, and that he knows that she would never do something like that. Anthony tells her he thought he knew her too, and that he never thought she'd eliminate her comrades to claim the mission bounty all to herself. And with that, Samus accepts that she's not going to be able to convince him, at least not here. Samus writes on a note and tapes it to the capsule of Phazon that she took with her. She releases the capsule of Phazon from her ship, and it floats in space in front of the Federation cruisers. Anthony asks Samus what that is, and Samus tells Anthony to at least look at the note before chasing her down. Anthony asks Samus if she really wants to become a fugitive, and Samus speeds her gunship out of there at a great speed. Anthony commands the Federation cruisers to go after her as his cruiser approaches the capsule of Phazon. Anthony brings the capsule into his ship and reads the note attached to it, during a montage of Samus escaping the Federation cruisers chasing her on her gunship. The note reads this: "The contents of this capsule is called Phazon, a substance that the space pirates were using to mutate themselves, Metroids, and to sell on the black market. If used correctly, I believe that this Phazon could act as the power source that Ceres desperately needs right now. The last remaining Leviathan, a great ship that transfers Phazon from one planet to another, has just crashed into the surface of this planet Phase, giving it enough salvageable Phazon energy to power Ceres for hundreds of years. Take this Phazon back to Ceres to test it, and use it to bring light back to the darkened streets that I vowed to protect." Anthony looks up, seeing the great light blue planet of Phase beneath him, and he brings the Phazon back to Ceres as the Federation cruisers continue pursuing Samus. Samus eventually loses the Federation troops chasing her, and puts a certain location into the ship's GPS. The baby Metroid looks at her in curiosity, and Samus tells it that they're going home. Anthony brings the Phazon to the Ceres Council, and they cautiously insert the Phazon capsule into the power plant beneath Ceres. Ceres powers up and lights everywhere beautifully, more so than Metroid energy ever did. Anthony can't help but be impressed with Samus's efforts, and acknowledges that she did it, even though Samus committed treason against Ceres. After this, the council asks Anthony for Samus's whereabouts, but Anthony tells them that he doesn't know. And with that, epilogue. And now, my friends, it is time for the post-credits scene. Dark Samus wakes up in a bunker on Phase's surface. It sees the destroyed Leviathan in the distance and mourns the Leviathan's demise, and that it was unable to spread Phazon to different planets. It stumbles back, glitching in and out of its form and Samus's power suit form, to the destroyed, abandoned space pirate base as Federation cruisers return to Phase, led by Anthony Higgs. Anthony tells his troops that even just a little bit of Phazon was enough to power the entire planet of Ceres, and that they need to salvage more of it. The Federation cruisers land by the Leviathan and begin extracting Phazon into containers. Anthony looks over to the space pirate base, and out of the corner of his eye, he sees Dark Samus phase in and out of its form. He freezes up, remembering Samus leaving this planet, and wonders who this could be, as it's definitely not her. He directs his troops' attention to Dark Samus, and they all fire at it, thinking for a second that it could be Samus. Dark Samus evades their blast and gets its arm cannon out. Anthony remembers seeing the same arm cannon from the footage sent to him, and Dark Samus fires a shrapnel beam at the Federation troops. Dark Samus gets on an abandoned space pirate cruiser and exits the planet Phase. Anthony looks up in shock as Dark Samus leaves the planet, questioning what he's doing. And now Dark Samus looks at the radar on this cruiser as it's flying it, and sees the default location on it as Zebes, and then the GPS on the cruiser guides Dark Samus to this default location of Zebes. Darth Samus lands in a deep cavern opening with the GPS leading it to Mother Brain. Mother Brain is revealed, and she sees the space pirate cruiser landing. Darth Samus gets out and approaches Mother Brain. Mother Brain says, "The bounty hunter," hacking into the space pirate cruiser telepathically and aiming its blaster at Darth Samus. Darth Samus humbles itself and says that it's not the bounty hunter, only an organic life form made of Phazon, created to the bounty hunter's likeness. It says to Mother Brain that the bounty hunter stopped it from achieving its purpose and that it has no one else to turn to. Mother Brain hears Darth Samus out and tells it that she might have some use for it. And that is it for my story of Metroid Prime. Yeah, a lot of death here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys didn't get too attached to some of these characters because, yeah, they're dead. But I hope you enjoyed this story. Again, I never played any of the Metroid Prime games, but I wanted to do some research on, like, where some of this stuff came from and how I can, like, bring these stories together. So I hope you guys liked what I did with this story, giving all of these characters, like, some depth. I don't know if the hunters have, like, some kind of depth in the games, but I wanted to give them all, like, different convictions, different personalities, different character traits within this movie, and to set up how Samus was unintentionally framed by Darth Samus. And so, the next installment that we have after this is the third installment of Super Mario Bros. For the next installment, the Super Mario Bros. Will conclude their trilogy. And that story, it's gonna be wild. As I do more of these and get to the end of this, these stories are gonna be absolutely bonkers. So I cannot wait to continue this series for you guys. So everyone, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys hit the like button normally and subscribe to join the herd. Become a VIP herd member today. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!